Hello everyone. As you know that my name is Isabel and I am from South Asia, Pakistan. And from past years, I love to talk with the women who are doing great things in their countries and shaping their communities. And that's really great that internet give us this that privilege to connect to anybody and who are doing great things. So I am so honored that today my guest is Isabel uh, Fiafilio from Peru, and she's an economist. She has an experience of investment planning and open government. She is also the winner of youth leadership program, and we will ask about it more from her. And she is also the member of some national renowned organization, national and internationally. So thank you so much, Isabel, that you have given us time to share your story with us. Thank you so much. We welcome you.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, and I'm grateful for invitation in these spaces for women. And I have happy to know here with people in the other countries. And I am Isabel. I'm from Peru, and I live in Lima. And I work at public sector in all my experience. Yes, and about your some words about me. Yes, I'm an economist, and I have experience in different spaces in the public sector. Um, yes, and I happy to share the different questions about me and about my experience.
Oh, thank you so much. So I want to ask you about firstly, like you live in Peru, and tell us about your initial education and the whole journey. Like now you are doing great things in public and government sector, and you win the award. But how, if you look back, how you where you started your initial education, and tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Yes, and I have what I mentioned now, and I have experience in public sector in general. But now I have I work at especially in the Ministry of Education now, and I consider I have different experience about my trajectory on the different um focus about that. Um, in relation in according the initial education, I think that for me the the last steps, sorry, the first steps about my focus in the public sector. What is that? I think that in at university, because when I studied economy, independent of the focus about the courses on the different courses now every day. And I focus about the social problems, the projects. About my focus was here. And when I finished my university, and I I had a different question about what in what institution or organization I would like to participate or to work. But I have the opportunity to work in my first job in the municipality of Lima, that is the local government. And I saw the different problem about the public sector in general. And in this moment, I consider that it's important to contribute in the public sector or in other sector now too. For example, in NGOs, I think that is a good space to collaborate, and I have a different initiative, and it's important space to share the different solution. It's possible it depends of the spaces of the area, but and I consider that university is the is a step boy to share my different experience.
That's great that when you done with university, you choose to do go where you want to go. So it was easy or it was difficult, to pursue your career after your education?
Okay, I consider both positions because when I uh, when I have ideas for example, to share in other spaces, I think that if all people have motivated to create solution or independent spaces when people work, but in the work I think that it's difficult to increase and as a professional or 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 others that difficult in different aspects. And not only in the spaces of the work. I think that is to the person or the people when I change experience or we change space because it's necessary to consider that the people that connect with me in my case is for example, I recognize this happy for me because of people around my work or around my life, for example, my in the case of my family, and share the some words to motivate it to continue independent of the case of the work because I have that experience in the public sector in general, but I work in different sectors independent of the sector, I choose difficult, yes, in adapt to the new experience, to new people, and I think that is the most important word, resilient. And I consider the resilient is the most important word that I use in my work, in my studies at university, in my family. I think that is important to consider this word. And yes, and I have very difficult to, in special to start in work in the public sector because it's difficult to enter in the institution in general. But I think that is in my case my university. When I receive a lot of knowledge to share, and now I study at San Marcos University, and it's the most important university in the public university in Peru. But I recognize it's important to recognize it.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That if we consider our work, the most important thing, we can overcome the difficulty. Isabel, tell us about your country as well, and then I will go to my next question. But I'm really eager to know about your country, like what is the favorite dish, or how is the environment there, and how many, like in my country there are four provinces and 160 districts, and I live in I initially born in Multan, but my workstation is Islamabad. Maybe you listen our the city name. It's our capital as well. So what about your country, Mike?
Okay. Can you repeat the last part of the question because I have forgot.
Okay, I just share that a little bit about my country, and I am eager to know a little bit about your country. So, how is Peru?
Okay. Yes. For okay. Peru. I start with the geographical part. Okay, Peru. Yes, the capital of Peru is Lima. I live in Lima, and it is the South America. Yeah. Okay. And in Peru, I consider different aspects to my country, in special with the education, with the, for example, the culture. I have different old culture and with a different civilization now. And I think that is I would like to share for the some links about my country, but I recognize that Peru, yeah, in the aspect of economic, for example, in the some last years, and I have that improved. The GDP it was good, but now it's not more easy for the pandemic situation or the COVID-19. Uh, but I consider that in Peru exists different resources, natural resources in special, and I is possible to know the different investment to create different space to invest here. It not only in Lima because it's the capital or the structure is different, but in the other regions about Peru. And I think that it's important to recognize it's not only the economic situation or the resources here, but the climate is good for me because it's not more cold and more hot. It's in the middle. In other aspect, I recognize that the gastronomy for Peru is the I don't know, but this I consider the most important gastronomy around the world because I think that the different chefs recognize about the foods. I think that is not only special food, Peruvian food. I create new words, for example, the fusion food, in change with the spaces about original of Peru, but with other species or other countries. Um, in relation with the two countries in your countries and my countries, I think that recognize the situation about the sector for example in education, in the health, in the development, etc. Because I think that this in the similar situation it's possible to recognize the different problem about the education now and that recognize that for example implement different solution or I don't know is in the country but the reforms of political educational for example on other in other sector. But I think that both countries recognize that different problems and have the motivation to create solution. Um, I think that it's important to recognize this. And independent of the different characteristics about the people, about the culture, about what different initiatives do you have, for example, about my my community, and I recognize that community is important too. For example, Peru is and have the different situation about the geographically, and in the rural is zone on the urban zone is different, but in the region in general divided in three regions. In Spanish is Costa, Sierra, and Selva, and I consider three regions in general on where the selva is the similar to Brazil because it's the is near Brazil, and in the Sierra is the middle of the territory of Peru, and consider this more nowadays consider the culture more, in especially people, and the costa is the near of the sea, but here is different, but the climate is good for me, for example, because it's a lot of sun every day in the north of the coast of Peru.
Okay, okay. So what language do you speak there in Peru? What is the mother language?
Okay, here I speak Spanish and the Quechua. Quechua is is one of the original languages, but Quechua or Quechua depend of the pronunciation. But I have the or the different model to Quechua because it's independent of the region. For example, it's Quechua Sur of the south. The name is Quechua Sureño, and I have other Quechua there, but it depends of different terminologicals or the different words, type of work, independent of the region or the in Peru. And yes, I consider other languages is Aymara, and I have the more than 20 um, languages, but it's not official. But however, it's necessary to recognize because exists a lot of group of people that speak these languages. But the unofficial languages is Spanish and consider Quechua too. But in the curriculum, I consider that it- only Spanish or Castellano, for example, is that consider is that same name. But Quechua is important to consider, but because in the constitution is our official languages Quechua, but it's necessary to recognize that. But I know different group of people in here in Peru, in other countries, but promotes Quechua such a language.
Okay, that's great. Today I know much about Peru. Okay, so my question is to you is what ideas shape you into the lady you are today? What do you think?
Okay, okay. Um, I consider resilient, but I the word with I shape in here. I consider resilient to be one of the words I always like to bring into conversation. I consider myself a person who has been learning throughout life from the personal and to professional to professional. I believe that we are people, and I also say this is a spirit of identifying myself with some colleagues I know who also make a great effort to get ahead, who are the college I meet at university. For example, I am collaborative, I am enthusiastic, and with a lot of motivation to continue learning new things on other core tools, not only academically, yes, it's okay, it's good, but also on a personal level, realizing that I like it to different skills to be able to develop myself. I think that this was also a reason to be in different spaces and to be able to develop myself better. I consider I need to better all day. Um, I consider that I am in a stage of my life where I prioritize my professional development. But you may wonder how I changed my way of seeing things, and well to tell you one experience. For example, in Sansa University, like when I speak in the last question, it's like social issues, and especially projects, no? So I think that this feeling to be able to being on the space was born. I think that where I participate in different volunteering, for example, and I remember I was a program when I participate with some young people when I participate in different projects. I was on that stage where I reinforced that is my spirit and feel listened to, and I there recognize that teamwork is better if you say things up front. If there were problems, we'll meet and we all share the different opinion, what we agree and disagree in different aspects. And another consider I recognize what is my feeling. For example, after I took some classes of young leader because it was a program, and I put the different text. I read the different text, and I share and I search and that I in the text mention about Amartya Sen. When I think that is a good Nobel Prize in economy, the economy. I recognize the different vision, and he had the different vision about, for example, what is the focus the economy? The economy must have a human face, and remember all my life these phrases because I think that is important to me, and consider that is a the step to continue focus in my experience, in my professional life, and my personal life.
Okay, the, that's really great. So I want to ask you, it's really important when we know us, and in the different phases of life, we understand ourselves in a more better way, and like to learn and grow. I really like that. So my the next question is, you won the award, Napolitan Award 2021, and you work regarding public policy, open government, international development. So tell us about these things as well.
Okay, thank you for the question. I recognize the awards were recognition in the category of young leader for the different actions that one of the building of my professional career. I consider that recognition is more than committed and say that you are doing your that I have the good job or the good it's okay. Um, but something small to tell, it was one of the experience that changed my life because I realized that there are people who believe in me, and that makes you also strive to continue to achieve my dreams. Many times one goes on never ending search for things, but I was gonna acquire knowledge and discover things. One priority and objectives change. Now, regarding the point of the work on academic experience, I have worked in the public sector and I'm waiting to make significant change. It still remains a promise. Since being in the public administration, as there are areas where it's possible to implement things, but not so much in others, independent of the area. I think that is some points in the career in my career could be implemented, uh, or when I can, for example, can I have decision making power or position the leadership. In the case of for example, about public policy, open government, or the international development, I think that I recognize the open government. I studied this topic in 2018 because I studied an a commission of economic commission, a class, but is the work in the Latin America. But I think that this open government is one of the themes that I have exploring in depth over the last year. Um, I particularly bring the importance to modernization of the state. Yes, basically in three pillars: the citizens' participation, transparency, and collaboration. That three pillars is I remember all of the, in my we see the ability to the state promote to use the information that is user friendly, efficient, and serve it to the general public. That is the citizen is important, is the center of the objective in general to the state. To the state. I have also been able to share knowledge on these issues with young people and people who are interested in subject. And I have also been able to participate in some open data issues, but it's something external. I think it's consultant or participate in different spaces to consider open data. And in other hand, I am also interested in learning about the other cultures or how they relate to other problems in the society. I think that is possible to say or is possible to different parents. But I interested in Asian issues, for example, and I find it curious in and interesting listening, learning about the culture and understand other aspects about that behavior in special. And I interested in know other cultures, other I would like to work in other countries, and I have experience about the development or the international development in general. And on the other hand, I'm also interested. Yes, for that I speak about that in my interest in model education. But I think that is I have the more spaces to know and in the future.
Okay. So that's pretty interesting. Um, you walk in as you dedicatedly, it feels like you dedicatedly do the things that you do in the past, and serve in different sectors. So as a woman, now that's a global world that we can connect and learn from each other, and learn from each other country, from learn about one another countries, um, and collaborate as well. So what is your future plan? What do you think that? And I also want to know, like, some how many countries you talk to in Asia or
Yes.
started work with?
Okay. And I have the yes, I have the plans. For example, and I speak about my plans, and I would like to work, yes, or no, especially Asia. Now I continue. Now I continue to participate in different spaces to collaboration, and which is very interesting and challenging. I think that is to work. And I work in the public sector, and my plans are to start my master degree, for example, in the focus on academic focus master degree. I consider it's important to start my career, and I also consider a possible doctorate. Yes, it's possible to the future years, but it's step by step. But I don't know rule out the possibility that dream, but kind of yes, it's okay. But in a yes, and I have the plans, but I don't know with I don't know however, in the when I step by step, I consider a different aspect around around the space, because it's possible to identify the objective and and consider a different challenge about that. And something I didn't tell you is that I like to write poems and stories, and at some point, I would love to write a book. Yes, and I feel it will be something very nice to cover messages, special messages to little ones. For example, in focus on the children and in special women, because I think it's necessary to share the experience. All people have the capacity to share experience, to share the what is the solution about the difficult in according to the country, according to the yes, I think that is one of my objective, but independent of academic or the other activities that yes, I see that create the points is my habit. I think it's okay, sorry. I will identify it important for me to able to be in leadership position to be this to the decision makers now. What is it? I think that is when I finish my master degree, or it's possible in depend of the situation or depend on the job. But I consider that is that next steps to in the short time. And yes, I like to know other countries. Yes, and I is it like possible to work in other countries? Yes, I choose, for example, in United States or Europe, or for example in Asia. No, but I think that three continents are more that I consider more curious for me. And yes, independent of the academic space, it's important to me to know different cultures, but I think that is important to know other things about the life. Yes, it's a motivation to create this. or travel abroad or travel here is other objectives, to distraction or to have the more time to relax here.
Oh, that's great. Even though, it's a short conversation, and I love to know about your work and you more, but the time is limited. And so I love to ask you, your message, what you want to say to all the women around the world. And how you think that in today's world, every girl, we all have power, power, equal resources to do things when we explore ourselves, or set the target for ourselves. So what is the message that you want to give to all the women who listen you, and um, now, or after, after this video? What is your message to all powerful women?
Okay. Um, I share my experience. I share my some things about my motivation. But the message is that we have all the capacity to continue following that dreams, different dreams, that they have the motivation. It's important to consider or recognize different words. For example, I have a piece of paper with words, important words for me, and I saw all day, and I think that it's important to create strategies, different strategies to recognize or to remember the motivation, because I think that is interesting of the life. But when I study at school, my director or my professor shared some words, some phrases, and I would like to share some phrases. And this is this, for example, if you don't like to serve, you don't like to live. If you don't like to serve, you don't like to live. I think that is important phrases to follow in the science children, so science, since the secondary school, and now I consider that it's important. But the message is that create different spaces to participate, to collaborate. If you not see if all people haven't possibility to collaborate, it's necessary to create this space and and remember that capacity to continue follow your dream. But that I think that is important too. And finally, consider that the word resilient is good for me, and I good for all people that consider it necessary uh, to follow in your careers in the personal, because I I um I consider that it's important to it's not only academic or professional work, professional situation that is considered that personal when I my behavioral about with my family, with my brothers, sisters, and it's good for the continue to dream. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope that all the people who will listen this conversation will learn, and I also learn from your insights, the way I I feel that you are very intuitive and a very sensitive, deep soul. So I love that everybody should follow and their dreams uh, necessarily. And this is, I think this should be the last statement of this session. And I really feel honored to have my great sister and friend, Isabel Fiafilio to host it on the platform of the Reading Women of the World. And I'm hopeful that this conversation is a door opening to further conversation and further develop some great things collectively with other ladies, and even if we do something by uh, ourselves as well. So thank you so much, all powerful ladies. I'll bring up more powerful ladies, and my mission is to bring all the powerful women and to our platforms, so we can help as well, support as well, but we will recognize that every woman is same, and all have same capacity and potential to fulfill our dreams. So bye bye for today's session. See you again all.